The megastructure breathed like a patient pretending not to be nervous, its walls flexing with low electromagnetic sighs as Ilan Varek walked the causeway alone. His boots clicked in a rhythm the architects probably intended to feel reassuring, though to Ilan it sounded like the countdown to a joke with a very long setup. Above him, far beyond the lattice of containment fields, a shadow shifted, graceful and vast, and a voice followed, smooth as weather. "You're late," the giant woman said, amused. "Either that or humans walk slower when they're about to do something irreversible." Ilan looked up, craning his neck until it protested, and tried not to stare. She was magnificent in scale and presence, her long features refined, her expression alert and unafraid, like someone watching a child approach a suspicious button. "The system recalibrated," he replied. "Apparently it detected anxiety." She laughed, a sound that made the lights tremble. "Tell it to relax. I've survived worse than nervous machinery." Ilan reached the console, its surface blooming with holographic sigils that recognized his authorization before he fully believed it himself. The final protocol pulsed patiently, polite enough to wait. "Please," she said then, softer, lowering herself until her eyes aligned with his horizon, still impossibly large. "Don't do this." He hesitated instinctively and blurted, "You say that like I'm about to unplug the universe." "Only the inconvenient parts," she said, smiling faintly. To ease the silence, Ilan joked about how his training manual hadn't mentioned conversational negotiations with skyscraper-sized beings. "Budget cuts," she replied dryly. The console chimed, urging him on, while behind its glow the structure hummed with secrets it wasn't supposed to remember. Ilan inhaled, fingers hovering, unaware that humor was the last thin layer between obedience and revelation. The console accepted Ilan's hesitation as if it were a valid input, stalling with a soft chime that sounded suspiciously judgmental. Around him the megastructure adjusted, corridors bending a few degrees to the left, then back, like it was stretching after a long nap. "It's sulking," the giant woman observed. "Machines do that when they realize they're not the smartest thing in the room." Ilan snorted despite himself and glanced up at her again, at the way she rested one enormous hand against a containment strut as if it were a railing. "You're distracting me on purpose," he said. "Obviously," she replied. "If I can't stop you with truth, I might as well try sarcasm." The protocol resumed its crawl, layers of light unfolding like petals, and gravity hiccuped just enough to lift Ilan's heels off the floor before politely setting him down again. "That's new," he muttered. "Oh, that," she said. "That means the archive nodes are waking up. They always stretch first." Ilan frowned, scanning readouts that didn't match anything he'd memorized. Fragments of data flickered at the edge of his vision, dates that ran backward, signatures signed by people who'd supposedly never existed. "You've done this before," he said. She shrugged, a motion that sent a ripple through the air. "Humans are very fond of finales, less fond of endings." To keep himself calm, Ilan joked about how his performance review was going to be a nightmare. "You initiated cosmic destabilization." "Yes, but with excellent posture." Her laughter rolled through the chamber, warm and unsettling. "Listen," she said, quieter now. "I'm not afraid of what you'll do to me. I'm afraid of what you'll learn about yourselves." The console pulsed brighter, impatient, and Ilan realized the system wasn't just running a protocol. It was remembering. The archives didn't open all at once. They trickled out like a system clearing its throat before saying something rude. Ilan watched translucent panels bloom around him, each one flashing scenes that refused to line up with the official history he'd memorized. Star maps overlapped, timelines slid out of alignment, and a caption politely informed him that several centuries had been simplified for public comfort. "That's one way to say lied," he muttered. The giant woman leaned closer, careful not to trip a seismic alarm, and squinted at the data. "Oh good," she said lightly. "They're using the friendly fonts. That means the truth is about to hurt." Ilan laughed despite the chill crawling up his spine. Footage showed her kind standing beside early human colonies, impossibly tall silhouettes stabilizing failing atmospheres, redirecting tectonic stress like it was a mild inconvenience. "We called you threats," Ilan said. "You called us fragile," she replied. "We were both right, but only one of us got a prison." Another panel flickered, revealing edits layered over edits, entire disasters quietly reassigned to natural causes. Ilan joked weakly that this was above his pay grade. "Everything important usually is," she said, smiling with something like sadness. The structure trembled as deeper nodes unlocked, and a synthesized voice announced archival integrity at 98%, apologizing for the missing 2 as if it were misplacing a sock. Ilan realized then that the protocol wasn't erasing her at all, it was erasing doubt. "You built this to protect us," he said slowly. "From knowing we needed you." She nodded. "Dependence scares humans more than giants." The humor faded into a quiet understanding, and Ilan felt the weight of a choice that was no longer theoretical. The final prompt hovered, patient as a held breath, its confirmation ring slowly closing like it expected Ilan to flinch. He surprised himself by smiling instead. "You know," he said, glancing up, "this is the part where I'm supposed to be brave or tragic." The giant woman lowered herself again, careful and deliberate, her vast presence no longer overwhelming but familiar. "You're doing wonderfully," she said. "You haven't blamed a manual once." He laughed, then reached into the console and rerouted the command, not canceling it, not completing it, but opening it. The system protested with polite warnings and one passive-aggressive alert about irreversible consequences. "Join the club," Ilan muttered. The archive surged outward, no longer contained, transmitting across relays meant for silence. Somewhere far away, people would start asking inconvenient questions. The structure steadied as if relieved. "So," she said gently, "what will they call you?" Ilan considered it, probably irresponsible. "That's progress."